Hello and welcome back to my vlog. I thought long and hard about whether to read this or not, but it's important. And with April 15th coming up, it's more important. And it's going to be a little awkward because there are footnotes and I'm trying to figure out how to read with footnotes, but I'll make it work. So this will probably go over 5 days. This is another from Pete Hendrickson from Lost Horizons. A brief but bright illumination of the truth about the income tax. The nature and limits of the, quote, income tax, end quote, are not the consequence of the structure of the law or definitions therein. It is, in fact, the other way around. However, because that structure and those definitions are carefully designed to conform and confine the tax to its proper nature and limits, understanding the very easily comprehended former brightly illuminates the more difficult latter. A concise presentation of which can be found within this document. I'll include the links. See Cracking the Code, The Fascinating Truth About Taxation in America for a comprehensive treatment. I'm going to briefly discuss two definitions in U.S. income tax law. Those given by statute to the terms, quote, wages, end quote, and, quote, trade or business, end quote. Between them, these two terms are integral to the vast majority of all, quote, income receipt, end quote, allegations made about Americans. Understanding these definitions will make clear that the receipts of most Americans don't fall within either of these classes. Simple logic recognizes that because receipts that do fall within these special classes are distinguished in the law as being subject to the tax, those receipts that don't fall within them are not subject. As Black's Law Dictionary puts it in its 6th edition, quote, inclusio unius est exclusio alterius. The inclusion of one is the exclusion of another. The certain designation of one person is an absolute exclusion of all others. Ellipses. This doctrine decrees that where law expressly describes a particular situation to which it shall apply, an irrefutable inference must be drawn that what is omitted or excluded was intended to be omitted or excluded, end quote. Let's first take a look at wages, a term presented at 26 U.S.C. Section 3401A and provided with a compound definition. Section 3401, definitions. A, wages. For purposes of this chapter, the term wages means all remuneration, other than fees paid to a public official, for services performed by an employee or his employer. So they lead you to believe, this is me speaking, they lead you to believe that that means you and your person that pays you your wage and your wage. C, employee. For purposes of this chapter, the term employee includes an officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, a state, or any political subdivision thereof, or the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or more of the foregoing. The term employee also includes an officer of a corporation. Footnote 1, which I'll read at the end here. Note, the tax law actually contains two definitions of wages, one related to withholding against taxes related to such receipts, and one to the receipts on which FICA and FUTA taxes fall. While the withholding definition above hinges on the meaning of employee, the FICA and FUTA wage definition at Section 3121A instead hinges on a custom definition of employment found at Section 3121B. However, discussing the one suffices for discussing both, for as the U.S. Supreme Court holds in Rowan Coase versus United States, 452 U.S. 247, 1981, quote, The plain language and legislative histories of the relevant statutes indicate that Congress intended for its definition of wages to be interpreted in the same manner for FICA and FUTA as for income tax withholding. End quote. Thus, while the FICA and FUTA taxes don't fall on all wages subject to the withholding provisions, and in that sense there are two different subclasses of wages, the nature of what qualifies as any kind of tax-relevant wage is the same. It will be observed that the definition of employee deploys the term includes, rather than the more conventional means, often found in definitions. The reason for the use of this specialized term is to invoke a special rule of construction for includes found at 26 U.S.C. section 7701C. C. Includes and including. The terms includes and including, when used in a definition contained in this title, shall not be deemed to exclude other things otherwise within the meaning of the term defined. Under this rule, the term includes provides for what courts have described as a calculated indefiniteness. This is the expandability of the meaning of a statutory term to things not listed in the definition, indefiniteness, but only things of the same character as those listed, calculated. In a statutory definition, the term defined is stripped of all external meaning, being left with only the specified meaning given by the custom definition. Footnote 2. Normally what is listed or described in the custom definition is comprehensive and closed, but under the rule of construction at 26 U.S.C. 7701C, the use of includes allows an indefiniteness to the scope of the custom definition, in that it can embrace things of the same kind as those enumerated, even though not listed, while at the same time being calculated in that such expansion cannot reach beyond the specialized class illustrated by the enumerated examples. The two footnotes, and that'll be it for today. Footnote 1, these corporations are U.S. corporate agencies or instrumentalities as defined in Section 207 of the Public Salary Tax Act of 1939. Quote, a corporate agency or instrumentality is one, A, a majority of the stock of which is owned by or on behalf of the United States, or B, the power to appoint or select a majority of the board of directors of which is exercisable by or on behalf of the United States. Ellipses, end quote. Quote, where general words follow specific words in a statutory enumeration, the general words are construed to embrace only objects similar in nature to those objects enumerated by the preceding specific words, end quote. Circuit City Stores v. Adams, 532 U.S. 105, 114 to 115, 2001. Also see Gustafson v. Alloyd Company, 93-404, 513 U.S. 561, 1995. Norfolk and Western Railroad Company v. Train Dispatchers, 499 U.S. 117, 1991. Footnote 2. When a statute includes an explicit definition, we must follow that definition, even if it varies from that term's ordinary meaning. Sternberg v. Carhart, 530 U.S. 914, 2000. Quote, it is axiomatic that the statutory definition of the term excludes unstated meanings of that term. Meese v. Keene, 481 U.S.C. 465, 1987. Quote, of course, statutory definitions of terms used therein prevail over colloquial meanings. Fox v. Standard Oil Company, 294 U.S. 87, 95, 55, S. Court 333, 336, end quote. Western Union Telegraph Co. v. Lenroot, 323 U.S. 490, 1945. Quote, we are not at liberty to put our gloss on the definition that Congress provided by looking to the generally accepted meaning of the defined terms, end quote. Tennessee Prott and Advocacy, Inc. v. Wells, 371 F. 3rd, 342, 6th Circuit, 204. And that's the end of those footnotes. And tomorrow I'll probably read that last paragraph again in the statutory definition. So I hope you're not bored. I hope you're getting something from this. It's really important. But most people would just want to put their heads down and pay their taxes so they don't get shot. There is duress involved and extortion. So, all that aside, make it a great day. And bye for now.